Okay, great. Let's so we're going to do lesson 12 on words of my perfect teacher today. So first of all, let's sit straight on the seat and adjust our body, speech, and the mind according to what we have learned. So we just visualize that we're now in the perfect place, which is the blissful Pure Land, or the best place you can ever imagine, Sukhavati, the Pure Land, the Buddha field. Then we have the perfect teacher, which is Buddha Amitabha, and we have the perfect assembly. We as if we are already among the bodhisattvas and the deities of the lotus family. And we have the perfect teaching, which is Mahayana Buddhism, and we have the perfect time, which is the ever-revolving wheel of the eternity. And so we study this lesson in order to liberate ourselves and liberate all sentient beings. Just sit straight and have a moment of adjustment. Now we do our refuge prayer. I'm going to read it once in Tibetan and twice in English. I'm going to chant the way that I'm familiar with. Okay, so please bear with me. Nan kwai nei san nan kwa gang wa ye nama ye dang kon zhuo cuo nan dang sang jie qiu lun pa po gen den na da dang zuo zhe ge bei jia su qie. I and all sentient beings of the six classes respectfully take refuge in the gurus, idam deities, and the hosts of dakinis, and in the Buddha, Dharma, and the noble Sangha, who fill the expanse of space at the level of the sky. I and all sentient beings of the six classes respectfully take refuge in the gurus, idam deities, and hosts of dakinis, and in the Buddha, Dharma, and the noble Sangha, who fill the expanse of space at the level of sky. You can chant with me all together. 大当他也生艰难，也来上界因巴了，因巴西波那涅的，向切乔的圣界多。I and other sentient beings, infinite in number, have always been Buddhas from the very beginning. In acknowledgement that this is how things are, we generate the mind of supreme awakening. I and other sentient beings, infinite in number, have always been Buddhas from the very beginning. In acknowledgement that this is how things are, we generate the mind of supreme awakening. That's the bodhicitta vow. And now the 7-9 prayers. Hong in 无尽有记录将成巴玛给萨等波啦，亚参求给欧洲年巴玛将内也设作，扩的康作芒波国切结结色大主记。新界罗些小色色个人斑马色的红in the northwest of the land of Odiana, in the heart of a lotus flower, endowed with the most marvelous attainments. You are renowned as the lotus bomb, surrounded by many hosts of dakinis. Following in your footsteps, I pray to you. Come, inspire me with your blessing. Guru Pama City Home. Home in the northwest of the land of Odiana, in the heart of a lotus flower, endowed with the most marvelous attainments. You are renowned as a lotus bomb. Surrounded by many hosts of dakinis, following in your footsteps, I pray to you. Come, inspire me with your blessing. Kurubama City Home. We will save this one to the last. So we do our supplications to Jima Pancho Rinpoche. 内亲若我在爱相抗，所讲话特界心那耶那门，金梅盘戳下那梭瓦，德公解多巴婆瓦，心解罗。内亲若我在爱阳康，所讲话特界心那耶那门。金梅盘戳下拉梭瓦的公解多巴婆瓦心解罗。In the pure realm of the great sacred site, the five-peaked mountain, the blessings of Manjushri's wisdom ripened in your mind. Jinmei Pantua, at your feet I pray. Inspire me with your blessings. Transmit the realization of the wisdom mind lineage.
Excuse me, Fan. Are you
Yeah.
showing your PowerPoint? We see your face, not the PowerPoint. Are you sharing?
Okay.
Didn't
Can
share
other
your-
people see my PowerPoint?
No, I just see your face.
I can see lesson 12.
See what?
I can see the lesson 12, the document you share on the screen.
Oh, only lesson 12? Okay.
Yes.
We didn't see the PowerPoint, yeah. Or the change you made.
Can you see it now?
No.
Yes, I can see it.
PowerPoint?
Yes, it's PowerPoint.
Oh, how come I didn't see it? That's odd. Anybody see PowerPoint?
Yes,
we
I can see the PowerPoint.
Well, how
And
can
it's a homage to the teacher, this one?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Because
Maybe-
that reminds me I may need to switch later. Okay, great. Sorry about that. Let's do our homage. Homage to the teacher Buddha Shakyamuni. Homage to the wisdom warrior Manjushri. Homage to the entire lineage of benevolent masters. The unsurpassed, profound, and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter, even for hundreds, thousands, or millions of eons. Now that I get the chance to see, hear, receive, and practice it, may I realize the ultimate meaning of the Tathagata. All right. You see my changing slide?
I can see it now. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So I'll just go briefly about what we have gone so far. So we have learned the importance of preliminaries and the structure of the text. And so the first thing we learned was the right attitude of chapter 1, part 1 of chapter 1, the motivation and view. So that is two parts, the vast attitude of bodhicitta and the vast skillful means of Vajrayana. And then we learn the proper conduct of what to avoid when we listen to the Dhamma. So we want to avoid to have the defect of the three parts, and we want to be aware of the five similes, which is 5 stages of the practice. And then we want to avoid to have the 6th stance, which is pride, lack of faith, and lack of effort, outward distraction, and inward tension and discouragement. So, and then we have learned the 5 wrong ways of remembering words, but not meaning, remembering meaning, but not words, remember it out of order, and so on and so forth. And the last lesson, lesson 11, we learned about the four metaphors. We want to view ourselves as sick person, the teachers as the skillful doctors, and then the Dharma as the medicine, and practice Dharma as healing the disease. Now we are in lesson 12. We continue the 4 metaphors, but with the focus on how to follow the guru. Okay. So we will just go to the text. Can you see my PDF file here, lesson 12?
Yes, we can see the text. You're moving up.
Okay, cool. Is the word good enough, big enough?
Yes, for me.
All right. Okay, let's go to our normal routine. Any volunteer to start with the first section? So
Okay, I can
I
read.
have draw red lines here. If you see red lines, you stop. If you see the black and the highlights, that means you can skip reading that part. So otherwise, just keep going. I'll go first with Choyang Doje.
Yes. Okay, I can do.
Please, thank you.
Sure. In this degenerate age, many people don't adhere to the prescribed sequential order and the instructions of their lineage masters. As a result, it is uncommon for those people to encounter obstacles during their practice or have no spiritual experience arising in them, causing them to simply leave the path, lose faith in the Dharma and the teacher, or even generate wrong views toward Buddhism. It is not easy for us to embark upon the path to liberation. So we must practice according to the pit instructions of lineage masters. This is extremely important. Yesterday, we learned we should contemplate the four metaphors. More specifically, we should think of the teacher as a skillful doctor and ourselves as patients. The only way the teacher can guide you to liberation is through teaching the Dharma. If you follow the teacher's instructions, your practice will definitely reach fruition. If a severely sick person wants to recover, he must follow the prescriptions of the experienced doctor. If the patient doesn't follow the doctor or doesn't take the medicine prescribed by the doctor, he can hardly recover. As for the doctor, however skillful he is, he cannot treat a patient without prescribing anything. Therefore, make sure you understand the independence between the patient and doctor. These days, some people are going to extremes. Some practitioners say they don't need any teacher and hope to achieve realization to their own intellectual capacity. But this is just impossible. Through history, except for the very few practitioners with superior faculties, ordinary practitioners cannot achieve this. On the other hand, some practitioners overly rely on the teacher. They are unwilling to practice, hoping the teacher will take care of everything for them. But even if the teacher is a great enlightened master, he is incapable of transferring his realization directly into the minds of those disciples who engage in a little practice. As I said yesterday, the impartial love and compassion from the Buddhas of the three times is indescribable, and let alone the Buddhas, even the love and compassion of bodhisattvas such as Avalokiteshvara and beyond your imagination. If the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas could completely dispel the sufferings of all sentient beings, how could they merely witness beings falling into lower realms without offer any helps? Many seemingly faithful disciples claim, my guru is highly realized Tuku, so it doesn't matter if I commit wrongdoings. My guru promised he could bring me to a higher rebirth when I die. Some unlearned master promised, it is all okay as long as you are thinking of me at the moment of death, I will appear to guide you. Therefore, it is not a big deal if you commit wrongdoing now. Such kind of affirmation doesn't make sense for monastic members who will take disciples in the future. Please make sure you don't carelessly say something like this. An individual who has committed a felony will receive legal punishment. Even in his family member is the head of the government, he cannot be exempt from charges. No one can override the law of cause and effect, even in the secular world. Therefore, one must understand this when following a teacher. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, we can make a pause here. So what is the main point here? So could you summarize with your own words?
My understanding is that regardless of how your teacher is, whether he is a supreme being or he's just an ordinary teacher, without your devotion in practice, his blessing cannot enter you.
Very good. Yeah. I think this is kind of I think Kampo is kind of talking about some phenomena in the Tibetan area. Sometimes I think Tibetan people are quite generally we believe that because they have so much faith, they really believe their teacher will save them when they die. So in that way, they kind of get slack on their own practice. So Kampu said here that is not reasonable, because if we really want to get the benefit, we have to practice. We cannot. It's impossible for us. Kampu actually said here, it is impossible for us to achieve realization through our own intellectual capacity. We do need a teacher. But on the other side, if we rely totally on the teacher, that is also not reasonable. We still need to do our due diligence. We need to practice. I think that's the main point here. Any comments in this section? Any other comments? This is fairly easy and straightforward. Yes, Sally?
I think it just mentioned that it is very true, like the sutra, the flower ornament sutra say that the Dharma, one cannot understand the Dharma, even it's very extremely intelligent, that we have to rely on teacher, the teaching. So on the one hand, we do need a teacher. On the other hand, you just mentioned we should practice. So I think maybe the analogy is the teacher show us, where we can find the food and so forth. But we really do need to eat the food and digest it and become our own, belong to our body and nutrient us. So I think our practice probably because use this semi to illustrate why do we need to practice ourselves, not just totally rely on teacher.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, and because Campbell actually just said this sentence is not very light. He's a simple blank point that this is just impossible. And there are scriptural evidence. I believe it was from Avatamka Sutra. It says no matter how intelligent a person can be, he cannot. I think it was a metaphor, like the Buddha Dharma is like a treasure in the dark, and the people without light, people cannot see it. And the light, it actually means the guru, the teacher. Not the exact word, but it's what it means. Yeah. Yeah, we can move on to we have 6, 7 sections today. And so this is just say we don't want to fall into either extreme and just totally rely on self or totally rely on teacher. Now we talk about the Bodhisattva and the view from the Bodhisattva and the view in this text. Adrian, would you please read it for us?
Yes. We've learned that the present moment. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
very
okay.
good.
Okay. We've learned that the present moment marks the turning point that will determine our outcome for better or for worse far into the future. It is crucial that we choose between samsara and nirvana once and for all and put the instructions of our teacher into practice. Therefore, our true hope lies in following a qualified master, receiving their instructions, and diligently putting the instructions into real practice. This is our only path to liberation. Tibetan monastics who conduct village ceremonies for the deceased will recite the Bardo liberation through hearing during the intermediate state, in which there is one verse. It is the decisive moment for going up or down, like steering a horse by the reins. Going up refers to rebirth in higher realms or the Pure Land, while going down means rebirth into the lower realms. As when a horse rider pulls the reins, the horse heads towards the designated direction. So the ceremony conductor recites the consciousness of a just deceased person is like a horse guided by the reins, and that the moment of death is the turning point. During the time of Patrul Rinpoche, those conductors would recite this text during an end of life service. In fact, it is the present moment while we are still alive that is the turning point, not the moment of death. Both Jigme, Gyalwai, Yungu, and Patrul Rinpoche have said during their teachings. It's very hard for people like me to transfer consciousness only by receiving a recitation service during the Bardo state. So practices conducted while still alive are very important. Most people may not attain liberation during the Bardo state, except for eminent masters who achieve liberation in the luminous Bardo of Dhammadata due to their practice during previous lives. If an experienced practitioner doesn't attain enlightenment during the luminous bardo of Dharmata, he may follow the instructions whispered into his ears by the teacher or by Dhamma peers while the practitioner is in the karmic bardo of becoming. If he wants a rebirth as a human again, he visualizes his consciousness as the seed symbol hum, or if he wants to attain liberation, he visualizes his mind as the seed syllable he, which then merges into Buddha Amitabha, who goes to the blissful Pure Land. There are many such visualizations in Vajrayana practice. When the deceased person's outer respiration ceases, but the inner respiration is still ongoing, or when the inner respiration ceases and they receive pointing out instructions every day for the 49 days after death, they may have the chance to transfer consciousness. Even if heavy karmic burdens are bringing the deceased toward a lower rebirth, through their guru's forceful poa, a profound practice of transference of consciousness, a few individuals with specific affinities may still be reborn into a higher realm or even attain liberation. Nevertheless, for most deceased individuals, it is extremely difficult to transfer the consciousness simply through receiving recitations. At the moment of death, if you have not mastered the path through diligent practice while you are alive, the fierce wind of your past negative actions will be chasing after you, while in front, a daunting black darkness will surge toward you. Helplessly, you will be prepared along the long and perilous path of the intermediate state. If you have committed severe negative actions such as killing, the Lord of Death's countless henchmen will be pursuing you, crying, "Kill, kill, strike, strike." Eminent masters have taught that the scenes of hell realms will immediately arise at the moment of death for those individuals with heavy karmic debts. How is it possible at such a moment when there is no place to escape or hide, no refuge and no hope, when you are desperate and lost? How could such a moment be the turning point when you can decide whether you will go up or down? If this is the case, does it mean that the Bardo Todo text is wrong? It is not. For some people, the recitation does offer help, and after receiving such pointed out instruction, they can attain liberation. But for most individuals, the moment of now is the most important. Oh, such a
Yeah.
deliverance, sorry, such a deliverance service is indeed beneficial, but the most important thing is that you engage in virtuous acts while still alive. The precious merit accumulated by yourself cannot be taken away by anyone else.
All right. Can you summarize in a few sentences about this section?
Yeah, I think that last sentence was probably the most important sentence. The precious merit accumulated by yourself cannot be taken away by anyone else. So regardless, just to sum it up, regardless of what you may, believe your master's strengths to be, and uh, you know, all of the external factors, be as they may, the most important thing is that you put into practice what you've been taught, the instructions. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty that was a lot, that was kind of a mouthful right there. But like I said, that last sentence really stood out because at the end of the day, even being guided through the bardo is possible, right? But it all really has everything to do with what you did while you were here. If you accumulated merit, if you did positive things, if you practice, that's really what is the determining factor at the end. So, even the best of masters might be able to save you at best, but it really because what you do can't be taken away from you. That's the big picture.
Excellent. I think that that past two sections are actually related to question number 1. Maybe you can help us to answer this question, Adria.
Yeah, which question is that?
Can you see the PowerPoint right now?
Yeah, I see it now.
Okay.
The Lama who performs the transference of consciousness for the dead will say, "Now is the turning point to go up or down, as if steering a horse with the reins." How do you interpret this sentence? What conclusion do you come to?
So this is a line from the Bardo Total. You
Right.
know about the Bardo Total, right? The Tibetan Book of the
Yeah.
Dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
yeah.
now is the turning point to go up or down, right. So like the text said, going up as in going to higher realms, and going down as in going to lower realms. Um, the Lama who performs the transfer for the dead will say, right. So basically, yeah, now is the turning point. So the turning point is the Bardo, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
yeah. So at that point, everything, the your karmic, past and everything will determine whether, because that, I guess, your actions in this life is like the horse rider. You can choose in this life whether you're going to go up or down in the next, basically. Yeah, I
Very
think.
good. Yeah. Yeah, taken together, the Bardo Total actually, because it's performed after the person is facing the death or after the person is dead, right? So it just basically says the intermediate state is the turning point. And this text, the words of my perfect teacher says, when it goes to that time, it can be too late. And when you are still alive now, your own practice will be the turning point for going up and down, not when you are dead already. Um,
Right.
so that doesn't mean the Bardo Total is wrong, because some people can benefit from the recitation. But most of the people actually it's better off if they do practice when they are alive.
Yeah, it's like why take a chance,
Right. Don't take your chance. Just be prepared.
Right.
Yeah. Perfect. Any other comments on this question?
Yeah, we were in a teaching session with a teacher doing a retreat on Sukhavati, And he interpreted this or something similar to this, as in, this is your backup plan. Like, this is not what you're going with. This is just that if you do your own transference, if your own practice fails, if at that moment of death, you lose sight of mindfulness because it's traumatic or something out of the ordinary happens, then this becomes your backup plan, but this is not what you depend on.
Exactly. Yeah,
Right.
very good.
So you would have had enough merit, you would have done your practice, but then something might happen like a quick death and you just need support. This, remembering your guru, having them do the recitations, that's literally just the backup plan.
Yeah,
and-
very good.
And also, if we do practice in this life, there is a point where you can get to where you are never going to be going into lower realms, which is called the stream entry.
Yeah. If we accumulate enough merit, get enough confidence, and especially when we practice the this intermediate dharma, I do have a few slides to share because it did in the text talk about the bottle status. So this was a few lines to explain the bottle practice from Dongju Rinpoche. You all know about Dongju Rinpoche. He is one of these greatest achiever, modern achievers. So this is literally copied from his talk. So when keeping up with your practice, constantly think of the 6 bottles. So this is Nima practice. It's actually a tantric practice, but this lines I copied from public teaching, so I think it's okay to share. Nongchen Nyingdik actually divide bottle status into 6 stages, including the bottle of this life right now, when we are alive here now. This is the bottle of this life. So Dongju Rinpoche says the key here is to remember that the only thing that you can take forward is your practice. So nothing else is only your Dharma practice, meaning the good deeds and the bad deeds you have accumulated in this lifetime. Practice bodhicitta, the most important thing, bodhicitta. Maintain your faith and devotion, accumulate merit, practice purification, and maintain the nature of mind. This is what we can do part of this life at current stage. And then the next one is the bottle of dying. So this is the person is facing death. Like you can count your life by hours, maybe. Knowing that you're dying or days, the key here is to reduce your attachment, to do compassion, and to maintain your practice. Still need to maintain practice, but now is the time to give up everything in this world. No matter how good they are, including your family, your assets, everything. And to do compassion and confess whatever wrongdoing, wrong actions you committed in this lifetime or before, and maintain the practice. This is when a person is facing dying. So that is the practice to do. That is the key to do. So bottle of dharmata. So this is after a person is already dead. Seeing the Shitra deities, I will explain Shitra deities. The key here is to see all appearances inseparable from your gurus, Buddhas, and your own nature. So during this stage, bottle of dharmata, normally a person can see a lot of strange figures and or maybe a lot of frightening scenes or a lot of those things. But the key here is to see all these appearances, no matter how pleasant, how frightful, from your own Buddha nature. It's not separate from your own nature. So this is the Dhamma bottle of Dharmata. And then the bottle of rebirth. So when the dead person goes through the Dhamma bottle of Dhammata, next stage is about to take rebirth again. So the key here is to remember your practice. Still want to remember your practice, seeing all appearance as the appearance of Buddha fields. So we want to take rebirth in the Western Pure Land. So we want to visualize all the appearance as appearance of the Buddha fields. So in that way, we have better chance to take rebirth up there. Or take a better birth. And then part of dreaming. This is like a literally mean when we dream. The key practice here is not to be attached to seeing everything as a dream and non-existing. It's not to be attached to seeing everything as a dream or non-existing. We literally, actually, right now at this moment, you can see everything as a dream. It's non-existent. And then part of meditation, this is talking about actually meditation. The practice here is to meditate with clarity and unwavering mind. So you need to have that kind of meditation practice with a steady mind and a steady, status. So this is 6 models teaching by Ngöndro Rinpoche. And then they talk about this Shitra deities. Many of you probably know about this 100 deities, and when a person dies, we'll talk about it in the next section of the text. You will see 48 peaceful deities and 42 peaceful deities and 58 wrathful deities. And the peaceful deities, they have auras around their head, and everything looks very nice, and that's not a problem. And sometimes it can be more problematic. This is the peaceful deities. They appear like Buddhas and bodhisattvas. The frightening deities could be very strange to us. They may have dancing figures of human body, and then they have all sorts of different kind of animal heads. This is like a cow, probably. This is like a horse, even bird, deer, all these different heads. These are all different birds. So each deity has their own names and they have their own functions. But all these deities, no matter how strange they appear, they are merely just your own reflection of your own mind. If you recognize this, you can just merge it into those deities and be liberated. You will not arise that feelsome feeling. That's the key point. Yeah, let's go back to PDF file and let's continue. Any questions there? Okay, no. So we went through the question number 1 and the first 2 sections. Now let's move on. About aphasia? Aphasia?
Sure. Recently, I established a senior center for Tibetan lay persons in my hometown. I told the lay practitioners in the center, over 100 of them, now that you're old and at that last stage of your lives, you barely have a say in the things at home anymore. If you don't practice the Dharma well while you're still alive, then when you die, your family will just offer you recitations for 49 days and then send your corpse to a cemetery or a funeral home. The family's actions may be beneficial for you, but it is far less than the benefits you get from your own practice. Even if you just listen to one Dharma class per day, or do prostrations, recite mantras, or offer a butter lamp, you will accumulate far more merit and receive far more benefit for yourself than from your family. Therefore, do not place all your hope on the Guru's power, thinking that the Guru is almighty, so you can rest assured of the Guru's help without practicing anything. Such a view is very wrong. As Padmasambhava says, by the time empowerment is given to the card marked with your name, it's already too late. Your consciousness, aimlessly drifting in the intermediate state like a bewildered dog, will find it immensely hard to even think of higher realms. What is meant by empowerment given to the card marked with your name? According to the Tibetan tradition, when a person dies, his family will invite the Guru or Sangha members to offer recitations of deliverance prayers close to the deceased pillow for 49 days. The family has to prepare a card marked with an image of the deceased. The Buddhist masters will attract the deceased consciousness onto the card, and the card will be the object of empowerment when the masters recite the Bardo Tojo. If the deceased person is a male, the card will depict a man. If it is a female, then a woman. The style of drawing varies according to different traditions in different areas, but in general, the deceased will be depicted as crouching under a parasol with two palms put together. The card will be decorated with a parasol, a flower garland, and things the deceased is very much attached to. For example, corals and pearls for a rich person, and mala beads for a poor person. This is a common practice also described in the termas of Padmasambhava. Normally, when a Tibetan dies, his family will invite Sangha members to recite the Bardo Tordal for 49 days if they are affluent enough, or at least for 7 or 14 days if they're less affluent. After the deliverance ceremony is finished, the family will bring the card with its precious decorations to a guru in whom the deceased had the most faith. The guru will then handle the card and its decorations. When the great Jigme Phunchok Rinpoche was alive, he received a lot of such cards sent by people from everywhere. On the 15th day or the 13th day of each Tibetan calendar month, Jigme Suntok Rinpoche would invite the Sangha to do recitations and then handle the cards properly. Actually, it is very common for a deceased person to attain liberation through the Guru's blessing or the Sangha's recitations. But here, Padmasambhava emphasizes that the turning point for going up or down is right now. So he says it is too late by the time empowerment is being given to the card because the deceased person's consciousness is already wandering in intermediate state like a dazed dog. No matter how hard the ceremony masters try to attract the person's consciousness, it is not coming back. The wind of the past actions carries a consciousness here and there, and the deceased person cannot even think of higher realms, let alone go to the Pure Land. However,
yeah, we can stop here. Thank you. So any comments over here in this section or previous sections? This is more or less just to describe the Tibetan custom about how to dealing with dead and empowerment given to the card
I think,
instead of the real person.
yeah, I think they're just trying to say here to what you said. It's just the custom says you can do all these rituals after the person has died. And it is
Yeah.
helpful in some situations, but not in every situation. So to earlier reading, if you have the merit because you've done your own practice, then I think these practices by the Guru and the Sangha, it can be super beneficial. But if you haven't done the practice, it says with the wind of the past actions, you're already wandering around trying to figure out what's going on because you haven't done any practice. So it's hard for you to even hear the Guru's call or see what the Sangha is doing for you. But if you have done the practice, even if you're wandering a little bit, I think it's easier for you to find your way back to that support system.
Perfect. Yeah. The next section, this is talk about the importance of Bardo practice by telling a story. I don't really wish to read the entire story word by word. I think I can just briefly go through the storyline. And the story goes like there was an old lady who actually went to a ceremony of a labor's death And then accidentally she saw this Shishtra deities, the 100 deities pictures, and she never saw it before, and she was merely out of curiosity and asked the monastic there and say what that is. The monastic says this is the deities after the deity pictures that a person can see after the death. And she was very doubtful about that words, but she did remember the pictures, right? So and then after she died, her son did all the ceremony and gave the card to Kamapa. And Kamapa told the son that his mother actually went to Pure Land. And the son didn't believe it because his mother didn't really practice much Buddhism. But then Kamapa says, because she saw the deity pictures, and she recognized those pictures, that she saw, and then for that reason, she was actually liberated, went to Pure Land. So that is the entire story by just accidentally see it once and kind of remembered it even when she still had doubt about it, but she remembered it, and then she recognized and she was liberated. So that says a lot about those pictures I just showed. Let's go back. I think I need to go back to the PowerPoint. That is related to the second, and again, this is hard to see everything. You can look it up. The 100 that was called Shitra's deities over here. 100 deities after a person dies. It doesn't matter one is Buddhist or not, they will see these figures. But for some people without practice, it can be just a flash of showing and they can merely catch it. For people with practice, the moment will stay longer and it's easier for them to actually recognize this. Yeah. So that is related to the second question about these past paragraphs. May I still get
Yeah.
yes.
According to Tibetan customs, how do people view death or treat the dead? Compared with the customs of Han Chinese or Western countries, what is your opinion? What is your plan for the future? I guess according to Tibetan customs, people view death as a time for transition, and they treat the dead as I guess in a state of transition where they think they can do these prayers, do these rituals, and do these customs that will help the dead transition to different realms of existence after during rebirth. And one thing that I took away from that was that if you're rich, it's easier because then you can afford to get all the stuff you need, get the cards done, take them to lamas, and get the prayers done for 49 days. If you're poor, it's a little harder because you don't have the resources to do that. Compared to Western countries, I'm not sure about Chinese, but Western culture, we don't do any of that. Christians, I know when you die, they have, depending on where you live, they have some celebration of your life. They have a burial or cremation, and then the priest or pastor prays for you at the ceremony, and pretty much that's it. You get buried, and then the family is done. They mourn you after that, but there's no thought about transitioning and how they can help you transition into a favorable rebirth. They just assume that you're going to heaven or hell for the most part, and it's based on your own merit. Whereas with Tibetans, they think that the gurus can help change that merit to a certain extent. And I guess my plan for the future is, I do have a plan. We do have a death plan based on just customs, Buddhist customs. And our hope is that we do well enough. Well, I speak for myself. My hope is that I do well enough practice, because I think I've realized that I can't outsource my rebirth to my guru or to my lama. I have to do my practice well enough based on his guidance in this life to create enough merit or karma that when I get to the point of death, I can do my own. I can guide my own consciousness to a higher realm. That is my plan, to not have
That's a
to
great plan.
not have low.
Rejoice on that. Yeah.
That is my plan. And then, but also have my gurus know of my plan and share it with them, so that if during that time of death, they can do practices. We don't discount that we do have plans to have Sangha and gurus do practices for us, depending on how long it takes us. So I guess that's it. It's just to have our own plan. But like I said, I think one takeaway for me from that retreat was that whatever the guru does for me after my death, for us, is just the backup plan. That is not the full, that's like an insurance policy. I have to do the work, and then that's my backup plan. So again, the hope is that we accumulate enough merit by doing good things, doing our practice, that I can direct my own consciousness to a pure land.
Great. Thank you. That sounds really nice. I love the plan, your plan. Han Chinese is not too much different than Western country when they treat the dead people in the family, kind of make do some sort of ceremony, I would say, but not really. It depends on area. In my hometown area, people do like a 3-day ceremony and have the villager people come in and have food. Or sometimes even they have those local opera or entertainment scene. Occasionally, some families actually do invite those we call them 道士, but they claim they are Taoist practitioners. But what my cousin does that job, and later I found out he actually recited the Amitabha Sutras for the dead people, but he thinks he belongs to the Taoist, but he knew it was a Buddhism sutra that he's reciting. So I thought that was funny. Some people do the recitation of Amitabha Sutra. That is the best scenario, but most of the families don't. Most of the area don't really do that. As if like the person dies and they process the body, had the family and friends say goodbye, and then it is goodbye, and the person is gone. I feel like I do like the Tibetan way much better. They actually also do ceremonies and sutra recitation and make offerings on the anniversary days and a lot of different occasions. And all these things will have positive effect, like Ifesha says, our own practice is the main contribution, and then the lamas is backup plan. Always helpful though. Okay. Any more questions or comments? Now let's switch back to the PDF file. Okay, let's go to the part 5. Any volunteers? Nim?
I can continue.
Okay, great.
I volunteered just as he was going to volunteer. Okay. Therefore, if we have a chance to see images of peaceful and wrathful deities, we should remember them clearly and know they will appear when we die. Of course, people have different levels of faculties. During the Bardo stage, some people will see images of deities in Yabyum, the peaceful deities, and the wrathful deities all appearing before them. For other people, the deities' images may not appear as they are, and deities may even appear in the form of animals. But in this case, make sure you neither generate hatred or simply see the deities as animals. If you fail to recognize their deities, they will immediately become horrifying henchmen of the hell realm, which, as you know, are in fact also the projection of your own mind. Currently, many people hold wrong views about Vajrayana, which we cannot prevent. Even during the time of Buddha Shakyamuni, some people held many wrong views towards not only Vajrayana but also Sutrayana, which also couldn't be stopped. However, individuals with an affinity for Vajrayana shouldn't reject anything they have not yet understood. For example, upon seeing a Yabyum image, one shouldn't carelessly dismiss it as something unnecessary or meaningless. Please make sure you don't think this way. Such images carry many profound meanings. They have nothing to do with the lust, hatred, and ignorance of your initial understanding. Buddhism is not this shallow or unintelligent. Even if you don't understand the embedded meanings, just seeing the images of peaceful and wrathful deities is of great benefit. The old lady in the story neither received empowerment nor did Bardo practice when she was alive. All she did was see the images of the Bardo deities, and she was even a bit suspicious about them. Regardless, when the old lady died, she was able to attain liberation right away. Therefore, the turning point is right now, while you are still alive.
Great. This just further emphasize the previous points. Okay, any more comments over here? We're good on time. If now we can go further and when we're still alive, we can do positive actions or negative actions, and we as humans we have extra powers to do that. Okay.
Okay, I'll read them.
Okay, thank you, Sally.
As human beings, we can arouse bodhicitta, receiving ordination and practice Tantra with our precious human life. Such a positive action are far more powerful than those of beings in the other 5 realms of hell, hungry ghosts, animal, asura, and gods. Thus, we have the opportunity here and now in this very life to cast rebirth aside once and for all. For example, some Kadamba eminent masters attain the stage of Rajadhara, complete enlightenment, after lifelong diligent practice. Many Nema renunciate went to the Buddha's Pure Land after the entire life of practice. Some animal masters of the Chan and Pure Land school of Chinese Buddhism, who were once just ordinary warrior people, were able to let go of mundane life and devote themselves wholeheartedly to Dharma practice by relying on uncontrived faith in the teacher and the Dharma. As a result, they freed themselves from future rebirth in samsara. But as human beings, our negative action also more powerful than those of beings in other realms. Thus, we are also quite capable of ensuring that we will never be free from the depth of the lower realms. Why? Because in no time, we may start to commit severe wrongdoings, such as holding evil views toward the Guru, the Three Jewels, the Lord Karma, and so forth, slandering them verbally and defaming them in our mind. This is achievable for animals like yaks and hellbeings. Humans' power to commit negative action is increased in this era, given the rapid development of science and technology. If a person holds wrong views, they may produced nuclear weapons like atomic bombs, which can kill tens of thousands of lives at once. Even if they just create a traditional landmine, the blast can kill many. Humans' capacity to commit wrongdoing is truly formidable. Before embracing Buddhism, some people, including those who are listening to my teaching, used to commit wrongdoing much more vicious than those of a yak. Although yak also have afflictions, including lust, hatred, ignorance, they don't deliberately kill others or produce deadly weapons. Therefore, some wrongdoing that a human is capable of committing in this life may prevent this person from being free from samsara. Luckily, now that we have encountered the teacher, the skillful doctor, and the Dharma, the miraculous medicine that frees us from the cycle of rebirth, now is the time to apply the four metaphors, putting the teachings you have received into real practice and embarking on the path of liberation. By doing so, the blessings of the power of the Dharma will progressively integrate it into your minds. Therefore, I hope that on your path of Buddhist practice, you will pray to the Guru and the Three Jewels in the morning after you wake up, at night before you fall asleep, and on every occasion, including walking, standing, sitting, or sleeping. Make sure you never apart from the Guru's blessing and the luminous wisdom. The practice was done by many past eminent masters and practitioners. A person with practice and realization sees both happiness and pain as a blessing from the Guru and the Three Jewels. When he experiences excruciating pain due to sickness, he won't think, "Poor me, I'm so sick for no reason." Instead, he will think, "The blessing of the Guru and the Three Jewels are incredible. Being sick gives me an opportunity to eliminate my bad karmas. Because of this, I'm able to remove the karmic obscuration accumulated since beginner's time. This is the conduct of a superior practitioner."
Right, thank you. This ties up to the question number 3. Let me go to this number 3. Just would you mind to just answer these questions as well?
Why do we say a human's ability to conduct both positive and negative actions is much stronger than other 5 realms? It's kind of blocked. Let me see number.
Oh,
I cannot see the. You have it?
how can it help you?
Okay. How can it help you by understanding this? Yeah.
Is it from because it was blocked from my screen, or
It's okay. I read
Okay.
it. It's
okay?
Because we are humans are too smart, I guess. Yeah,
Over smart ourselves.
I'm too smart. Now we think we control the environment, everything, and just abuse our earth. And now we are getting the result, climate change and so forth. Not to mention how many animals. And then we are so smart. We slaughterhouse and how all the animals, slaughter for our food. And all the cows are standing there all day long to be milked and so forth. So especially the mention in the text is that the bombs, just one war, we can kill so many babies. So I think that's the bad part, because we're so powerful to create the negative actions. Many times more than animal can do. And but also we have intelligence. We can discern what's correct and wrong. And we also very lucky receive teachings. And even with the advance of technology, like today with internet, we could talk to our Dharma brother sister over the whole world from different parts. So we are very lucky we can connect people with common connection or listen to the teacher. We don't have to travel a long time to receive teachings. So that's our merit too. So that's why we are capable, can accumulate many positive merit quickly, and also can commit all for negative actions. So we have to be very careful and decide, be careful what we do, I guess. That's it. Yeah.
Great. Science, technology, it's double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Always depends on how we use it. Or people's intentions are. Even a car, and there are recently so many, like people just drive a car into the car to intending to kill people. Yeah. So the good thing is we can use it to use our capacity to conduct the positive actions and to actually I was chatting with a friend the other day and he was saying it's like oh, I have dreamed like in the future lives I'll have to suffer this and that, and I said you still have time, and because it's in your future life or it's to be realized yet, and then you can practice your positive actions, and by practice that or by practice purification, you can minimize your suffering in the future. He was like, oh yeah. Any other comments here about
I'd like
positive
to just
actions?
I'd like
Yeah.
to just add, I think that being humans, uh we're overstimulated. We everything is at our disposal, the food and nice clothes, and we're overstimulated more so than animals or ghosts or anything. They don't have a need for that stuff. They just want to survive. But anything we want, we can have. And so I think that society, they kind of forced the idea on you that anything in the world belongs to man and you can use it how you see fit and you don't have to worry about, don't worry about it. And we just taught to just go out and just take what we want. So that's tough when you try to be a Buddhist. You have to reverse that thought because that isn't natural. But I think that being human is the most precious of all of the realms, but it's also the most difficult too because it comes with so much responsibility and it's a fine line.
Yeah, it's so when we have more, we still go for even more. So when we have nice clothes, that's not enough. We want the name brand, we want the most comfortable ones, and
Yeah.
all that humans desire.
Yeah.
It's just kind of going beyond.
Yeah.
So that's why we always need to recognize the three poisons. So the desire is the attachment and the desire. It's why it's called a poison, right? So Buddhism goes against the trend. It's like against at least the mainstream of the values. We want less. People want more. We want less.
Right. Right.
All right, going back. We have 10 more minutes. Let's go see Elaine. Would you mind?
Okay, I'm reading. Furthermore, we should also cut off the opposite of the four metaphors, the four wrong notions, while listening to teachings by following the four metaphors. Jimmy Limpa said in the Treasury of Precious Qualities, shallow-tongued men with evil natures approach the teacher as if he were a musketeer, having extracted the musk, the perfect Dharma, full of joy, they sneer at the Samaya. Here, Jimmy Limpa said, Such people see themselves as hunters, the teacher as a musk deer, the Dharma as the musk, and the diligent practice as the skillful means to hunt the deer. In the past, hunters adopted deceptive means to trap musk deer. For example, they would dig a hole in a forest passage in which they would put a lasso as one end tied to a pliable stick. After the trap was set, they covered the hole with grass and or leaves. When a musk deer walked by, the animal would fall into the hole, which activated the pliable stick and tightened the lasso. Thus, the musk deer was trapped. The hunter then caught the musk deer, killed it, and sold it musk for a fortune. A bad disciple is like the hunter. He first follows the teacher by deception. And for example, if the teacher likes wealth, the disciple will make more material offerings. If the teacher likes fame, the disciple will please him through flattery. Why is the disciple doing so? The goal is to get the pith instructions from the teacher. Until receiving the instructions, the disciple will follow the teachers for years and never leave. Once the teacher has given the Sutrayana and the Vajrayana teachings, the disciple discusses the teachers and his vows. The disciple starts using the teaching to pursue worldly gains, including fame, wealth, and prize. Because the disciple's lack of gratitude to the teacher, the disciple's Dharma teaching, which may be temporary help to the listeners in the beginning, is ultimately of little benefit to himself or others. Even if the teacher only taught you one's worth of the Dharma, you should feel grateful to them and never forget them in your life. A wise person will never forget the kindness of a worldly teacher. So, since the Dharma is far more valuable and beneficial to us than worldly knowledge, we must feel even more grateful to our Dharma teachers. Only by doing so can the Dharma empower blessing to your mind. In short, after listening to the teachings, please don't remain indifferent and fail to put the teachings you have heard into practice. I am not covering too much content in each class, so I hope you are able to read the text thoughtfully, contemplate it carefully, and practice steadily. As such, you can receive the inconceivable blessing of the lineage masters. Hence, you will become a pure and authentic practitioners for your entire life, and your faith won't regress. Meanwhile, it's crucial to be grateful for the Guru's great kindness. As such, the teaching you have received can benefit all sentient beings. In contrast, if you rarely practice the authentic Dharma, never think of the kindness of the Guru, constantly generate wrong views, and accumulate negative action through Dharma, then all these actions will drag you down to the lower realm like milestone. We pursue Dharma for the purpose of liberation, not for deliberately fall into the lower realms. However, sometimes pursuing Dharma can be as risky as having major surgery. If the operation is done in the right way, the patient will be cured. If it's done in the wrong way, he will die. Thus, we must be very cautious about our own conduct. By doing so, we are considered a real wise person, as mentioned in the Sutra of the Wise and the Foolish. Please contemplate the above teachings again and again.
Great, thank you. This actually is related to question number 4. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. would you mind to share with us the answers to number 4 question?
So number 4, what are the 4 wrong notions? They said look thinking the guru as the the 4 wrong notions while listening to the teaching by following the 4 metaphors. Jimmy Limpa said in the Treasury of Precious Qualities, shallow-tongued men with evil natures approached the teacher as if he was a musk deer, having extracted the perfect Dharma, full of joy, they stare at the Sammaya. Here, Jume Limpa says such people see themselves as hunters, the teacher as musk deer, the Dharma as the musk, and the diligent practice as the skillful means to hunt the deer.
Yeah, this is in contrast to the 4 metaphors that we see ourselves as patient, the teacher as the skillful doctors, and then the Dharma as medicine, and practice as healing the disease. And here it's in contrast. These people see themselves as the hunters. They were hunting for fame and wealth, right? And the teacher as the musk deer, because the teacher has the musk. Musk is the one, it can be extracted as medicine and it can be sold very expensively. So very precious. So the Dharma is precious, but it's not as precious. It's not something for sale, okay? No matter, it's just invaluable. And the diligent practice as a skillful man means to hunt the deer. So they can do all sorts of they practice because they want to with the goal to make money or to make fame. So these are the Jimmy Nimpa called these people shallow-tongued men with the evil natures. So these are the 4 wrong notions that we need to be aware. But this is more like really for, I think, for people who actually intended to use Dharma or use practice as a way to make money or make fame. I guess most of us here are not for that purpose. We study Dharma and practice Dharma for liberation and for benefit others, right? So the goal and the goal is very important, and then the approach, the intention is very important here. If we have this wrong intention, have the wrong goal, we can actually accumulate collective karma by Dharma or by the teacher. So which is just completely unnecessary, right? If you want to really to make fame, you can go to do something worldly sense. You can make your fame. Or if you want to make money, you go engage in business. It's not necessary you use Dharma or use Dharma teacher as your means to make money. So that is even worse than people make money in the wrong way, in the otherworldly wrong way, because we know Vajrayana have this samaya. We need to follow. We need to keep. So when we break the samaya, it's more serious than we broke other worldly vows or even the Sutrayana vows. So, any other comments here? We have a little 1 minute. I want to go through the original text just by reading it, so we can summarize what is in this entire text. I think any volunteer? Anyone? This is just 2 short pages. This is 1 page.
Those who
Basha, yes, please.
Sure. Those who conduct village ceremonies will have you believe that on your deathbed, you can still go up or down, as if you were steering a horse by the reins. But by that time, unless you have already mastered the path, the fierce wind of your past actions will be chasing after you, while in front a terrifying black darkness rushes towards you as you are driven helplessly down the long and perilous path of the intermediate state. The Lord of Death's countless henchmen will be pursuing you, crying, "Kill, kill, strike, strike." How could such a moment, when there is no place to run to and nowhere to hide, no refuge and no hope, when you are desperate and have no idea what to do, how could such a moment be the turning point at which you control whether you go up or down? As the great one of Adhyana says, by the time empowerment is being given to the card marked with your name, it's too late. Your consciousness, already wandering in the intermediate state like a dazed dog, will find it very hard to even think of higher realms. In fact, the turning point, the only time that you really can direct yourself up or down, as if steering a horse with the reins, is right now while you're still alive. As a
Continue.
human being, your positive actions are more powerful than those of other kinds of beings. This gives you, on one hand, an opportunity here and now in this very life to cast rebirth aside once and for all. But your negative actions are more powerful too. Thus, you are also quite capable of making sure, on the other hand, that you will never get free from the depths of the lower realms. So now that you have met the teacher, the skillful doctor, and the Dharma, the exceller that conquers death, this is the moment to apply the 4 metaphors, putting the teachings you have heard into practice, and traveling the path of liberation. The treasury of the precious qualities describes 4 wrong notions that must be avoided, which are the opposite of the 4 metaphors we have mentioned. Shallow-tongued men with evil natures approach a teacher as if he were a musk deer. Having extracted the musk, the perfect Dharma, full of joy, they sneer at the Samaya. Such people behave as though their spiritual teacher were a musk deer. The Dharma were the musk, they themselves the hunters, and intense practice the way to kill the deer with an arrow or a trap. They do not practice the teachings they have received and feel no gratitude towards the teacher. They use Dharma to accumulate evil actions, which will drag them down like a millstone to the lower realms.
Great, thank you. So the original text actually put it together, summarize the entire lesson. So I have no comments more, and anyone have any more questions about the entire text or previous text or whatever questions you have? Okay, seems like we did a good job. Now, so let's make our dedication. Just put your palm together and read along with me. Just as the warrior Manjushri attained omniscience and Samantabhadra too, all these merits are now dedicated to train and follow in their footsteps. As all the Buddhas of past, present, and future praise these aspirations as supreme, I now dedicate all these roots of virtue for all beings to perfect good actions. By this accumulation of merit, may I obtain all-seeing omniscience, and may all faults be defeated, the whirling turbulent waves of birth, aging, sickness, and death. From this ocean of samsara, may I liberate beings. So the last is a recitation of the fulfillment of all aspiration. Dayata Banjajaya Avabuddha Laya Soha. Om Ahom Banzagara Bama Se Hong. Om Ahom Banzagara Bama Se Hong. Om Ahom Banzagara Bama Se Hong. Thank you very much for a very good session. See you guys next Sunday, yeah?